What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of We Need to Talk. This here is episode 286. Shout out to everybody who's been tuning in. Replay gang, regular gang, and all that. It's all much appreciated. Shout out to everybody who is just been supporting, period. Again, love what I do. Definitely am immersed in my passion, helping people like yourself to grow, to change, to see progress, is what drives me. So this is why, I'm back to back with it. I'm here every night. I'm making sure that, we're all in a position of evolution. We are placing ourselves in a space to continuously grow and change and evolve. We're leaving a lot of things behind in 2020. We're leaving a lot of things behind, moving forward into new spaces, into new territory, and utilizing everything that we have, everything that has happened to us and happened through us to be utilized for our greatness, our purpose, and our impact. Taylor Williams, what's going on? See some new people in the building. What's going on? What's up with y'all? So, welcome. Tonight I wanted to talk about being used. So, there's a term. Dawn, what's going on? Let's see, Kyle, how you doing? Kai? Some new people coming through. Salute to y'all. Appreciate y'all. Welcome. Wanted to discuss the concept of being used and how damaging it is in 2021. I spoke highly against being used and being in situations where there's no reciprocation. I spoke a lot on that last year, in different times. It wasn't repetitive, but I made sure to get my point across. When it comes to this particular year, this is something that is incredibly imperative for you to leave behind, and I will speak to my reasons for that. So if we look at what 2020 looked like. What's up, Ty? I tried to bring you on camera yesterday, but you weren't still there. I think you might have left or you dipped out or something like that. I was trying to get you on before it concluded. So my apologies for that. But so 2020, we all know what that looked like. We know that again, it carried a very compound and swift set of stressors and points of adjustment, and all of this rapidly descended on all of us as a group, all of us as a whole, and we had to experience a lot of major shifts, major changes, but as a whole, they were largely negatively impactful. It's not like an adjustment to a neutral scenario where, the prototypical put your toe in the water as opposed to jumping in, and then once once your internal temperature, it becomes equal with the water, you're fine. And that's the adjustment of submersing in water. But water is not damaging over time. Water is not stressful unless you're drowning in it. But water is not a stress and anxiety inducing adjustment. These adjustments we've had to come to terms with over 2020 have been adversive, have been, very stressful, anxiety provoking, sometimes depression provoking, and it's put people in a trapped mentality. But overall, what I'm trying to get through is that the compound nature of our stressors at this particular time in history is at its highest. It's at peak levels as far as just our generation and beyond. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have a reference point personally in my life that is comparable to what this is. So I say that to say, number one, we can't afford to be in close proximity or close energetic, proximity to people who are users, people who may dump their sorrows on you, their problems on you to solve, people who are extractors, right? Whether that be, financially, whether that be time-wise, whether that be, relying on you to solve their problems and their issues, right? Relying on you to take their stress and pain and put it on your shoulders, on your back, solve their problems, intricately find yourself in a space where you now become almost employed to be their counselor, their sponsor, so to speak, or just their escape in the realm of dating. I've heard situations where people who are married, but whatever's missing from that marriage, they solicit that in potential partners. So you may find yourself, maybe not you personally, but you may have found yourself in the past or know people who have been in situations where they are actually talking to a married person who's getting maybe conversation, that maybe newness that they're not getting from their marriage, right? Maybe time, maybe attention that they're not getting from their marriage, they're getting from you, right? And the second you try to upgrade and move into a more solid type of relationship, you're at a block because they're not leaving their marriage, they're not leaving their wife or whatever the case is. So you're now stuck. So there's no reciprocation. You're actually pouring your time and energy into a black hole, just an extraction point that's just pulling your energy and not providing anything else. So I say that to say, let me shout out the people in the room, by the way, too. Some more people coming through. Tiff, what's going on? Dr. Cindy, what's up? Shari, Trina, what's going on? What's going on? Yeah. Batasia, what's up? Cool. So, when you are in a space where you have all of these things happening, 2020 forward, carrying even more so carrying into this year with more chaos, more added stressors, more passings, unfortunately. Every time I talk to somebody, it seems like somebody else is passing or transitioning, right? So there's a high frequency of that. So we're pretty much in a PTSD space right now, and none of us actually went to war that I know of. So it's, the effects of this time frame and this COVID era and all of that have yet to be adequately studied. But what I do know as of now, because we're still involved in it, but what I do know is that, based on the subsequent effects of everything that I mentioned, and what I know of, anxiety, depression, what I know of the mentality, what I know of the bandwidth that we all actually have to, exist, thrive, and survive, and maintain, and be able to emotionally regulate. All of these things require a certain level of balance, a certain level of perspective, but also a certain level of freedom and detachment from everybody else's problems, everybody else's issues. We cannot exist in a full-length, service-based lifestyle to where, we're constantly giving out and not pouring in. Because of this fact as well, if we look at this COVID era, there's been a blending, especially for you telework people, there's been a blending. Traditionally, there's home, which was supposed to serve as the solace, the peace, the headquarters, the time and space to calm oneself, relax, recharge, right? That has been fused with the workplace. Normally, you would go to work, come back. Now, some of that still exists, but now mostly there's been a merging of these two to the point where you physically and mentally, we are creatures of routine. We may have viewed our home as that, and then now it's not that, because so work is infused in that. So you can't even walk around your place and feel like it's home, because now it's a workplace, right? Emails are flooding in. People are having higher expectations of employees. You know what I'm saying? You might be overworked at this point. You might be hit with all kind of Zoom meetings back to back. You got Zoom fatigue. You've been hopping in and out of meeting. You don't even know what meeting you in. You just, leave meeting, enter meeting, cameras on. People change, your face stay the same. You don't know what's going on. Everybody's introducing themselves 100 times. Let's say your name and what your role is, and you're like, God, man, how many times I got to do that? So, you may be on this train that you feel like is never stopping. Now, this is just work. Let's also talk about, dating. We can talk about friendships and family and whatever role you take. You may be the leader or the comforter of the family. You may be the handler, right? The person who something goes wrong. You the one that makes the calls and makes things happen, right? What if you're in a relationship? Maybe you got to handle certain things. You have to maintain that. You have to pour into this other person. So if we are in essence responsible for these tasks on top of mentally and emotionally adjusting to everything COVID, everything wrapped around that outer layer of stress and anxiety and depression, invoking material footage, witnessing, adjusting, grief, bereavement, all of this kind of stuff, PTSD, we got it all, right? So there's the outer layer. Now, you mean to tell me that it's okay to have an even bigger layer, which would be that outermost layer would be comprised of the users that you allow to attach themselves to you. And again, I mentioned this is in the romantic space and the friendship space and the workspace too. They've been trying to use you, but I'm talking more so on the friendship space and the romantic space. Now more than ever, your mental, emotional, and physical health depends on you cleaning out and detaching from individuals who are using you, right? And there's multiple levels of being used, right? There's the direct usage where you have somebody who is basically, let me get some money. Guess what happened to me? Let me tell you about this. The solve problem person who doesn't reciprocate. Now, mind you, if you got friends and stuff like that to where they drop their stuff on you, but it's a reciprocal scenario. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who jump right in. Melissa, what's up? Erica, what's up? Zay, what's going on? What's up? So I'm discussing more so the people who bring about direct extraction from you. And there may be a misplaced loyalty there. There may be, okay, this is family, so I gotta do it. Or I've known this person since high school, I gotta do it. I've known this person since the sandbox, I gotta do this. Right? So we value time We value the time known versus the effort received. So we value the sentimental time that we've known them over the value and exchange received from that person. And we make a lot of excuses and we rationalize and justify over and over again. And a lot of times we do it not as much because of that time frame stuff, but more so because of how we're going to look if we don't, and what that says for the image that we've created inside of our mind. If we feel as though we have to be the most reliable person on the planet, we have to be the savior of all mankind, we have to be the person that is going to be the strongest, the most active, the person who is going to be there and take care of all of these things, regardless of how we feel internally, regardless of how much fuel we actually don't have, right? If we have that created, that internal label, we will follow that label to the death. And eventually it will be, because in this era, like I said, if we're peeling back the layers, there is a smothering effect that's occurring on your energy. And some of that energy is being extracted by people that you probably got love for. People that may say they have love for you as well. So we really have to acknowledge the extraction points that are occurring. We have to acknowledge the individuals that are coming in, pulling energy, resources, finances, time, conversation, problem solving from a source that is already strained, from a source that is already on E. The light's been blinking. You about to need AAA and a tow truck in a minute because of how much fuel is being extracted and leaked out, and no refuel is able to occur. Your self-care is above everything. You have to realize that. You know, it doesn't matter how long you met a person, what type of blood line connection. Your self-care is above everything, and there's the need for self-care expands and grows and magnifies every couple days, it seems like. And just because you're used to doing everything for everybody doesn't mean it's the right thing. Just because it's hard to tell, or just because your exhaustion isn't as obvious, or just because your exhaustion is so normal to you, that doesn't mean that it's correct and healthy. That means you're used to it. Same way you meet somebody, they're familiar to you, right? There may be an attraction. What if that's based on trauma bonding, right? That the familiarity does not mean that it's good. That's not an indication that it's good and it's healthy. That means there's a familiarity. You can be familiar with bad shit. You can be familiar with toxicity. So we have to get out of that space to where we're so used to running ourselves into the ground that becomes our new normal. And that becomes our badge of honor. So whenever somebody talks to us, we can talk about how many things we did, how many inhuman things that we've done, or how many people that we helped get over some stuff. There's no accolades in destroying yourself on a daily basis. There's no awards for that. And there should be no personal sense of pride with destroying yourself on a day-to-day basis. Why? Because you're serving a misplaced and misformed or malformed self-identity. You're forming a toxic formation of self-esteem. Your self-esteem is tied to what you can do and not who you are. And you have linked what you do to who you are. So any accolades you get for doing the most serve your self-esteem and your self-concept. And that's a bad cycle, right? And what am I here for? I'm here to break these cycles and create new ones. So when this cycle is happening and it's causing you to be in this particular space, then you have to stop that cycle. You have to move in a different direction. You have to be unafraid and fearless in your pursuit of total self-care. And if that requires you to detach yourself from certain people, if that requires you to have a conversation about certain boundaries with certain people, because you're not going to change users. You're not going to have a conversation and tell them how much you feel like you used, and they'll just talk their way around it and keep acting the same way. You've seen over time what somebody's character is like, what somebody's behavior is like, what somebody's patterns are like. So in all actuality, asking Nicole, what's going on? What's up? In all actuality, you have control over this, but the first thing is you have to know that it's okay to not be everything to everybody. Because the last thing you want to do is allow yourself to be the contributor of you being used. Because it's a choice. It's a choice to allow it. And you want to serve balance. You want to serve your evolving self. You don't want to serve the irrational self that feels like their love and value comes with perfection, because it's unachievable. You can't help everybody through everything. And when you try that, in essence, you're shaving years off the back end of your life and you don't even know it. Just because you didn't drop dead or fall unconscious yet doesn't mean there's no problems up under the hood. This is a fact. This is all of this is a fact. You can't have this much compound stress at once on one organism, plus you doing all the jobs and handling everybody else's business and not getting any reciprocation. The whole thing is gonna fail. And before it touches you physically, before you have health conditions that we gotta talk about, before there's pray for this person, before I start seeing some of y'all's pictures being posted on other people's IGs, we gotta get this together. We got to get this together. It's a holistic scenario. I mean, we talk about nutrition and all that stuff later. But for now, at least get the leeches off you. That's step one. If you want to keep the blood, let's at least keep as much blood inside of you as possible and get those and clip the leeches off first and foremost. Because if you want things to change, you have to do things differently. You have to do some things differently until you get used to them, until you create that new normal and you're able to, create that second nature that I always talk about. Very much possible. But the last thing you want to do is allow yourself to be in those positions, no matter who it is. You have to take care of you, and even if it's uncomfortable, you got to think about it. Like, you tell people, just chill. Some people can't chill. Some of you guys have problems with not engaging, or not helping, or not doing anything. And I get where that comes from, 100%. I understand it. But it has to have an end, because now it's even more dangerous than it was before, because there's too many other things happening. There's too much self-care that you deserve, and there's too much self-care that you need to implement immediately. I'm talking about next day. I'm talking even tonight. If it means you going to sleep earlier, do that. Do not disturb. Handle that. Oh, I tried to call you. Yeah, I was in a parallel universe. I was sleeping. What's up? Talk to me now. I'm up tomorrow. Set it up. Do what you need to do. Indicate and let people know who are reciprocators in your life. Let them know what's up. If you need to detach for a second, detach for a second. And if they're real ones, they'll understand. Now, this is where the filter comes in. I'm going to say this and I got to run. This is where the filter comes in. Now, when you start making decisions for yourself, right? You've been making all these decisions for everybody else, helping everybody else out. Cool, that's done. What's up, Ted? So when you start making these decisions, like, no, I can't make it to that situation, or no, I'm not gonna be able to do that, I'm not gonna be able to do this, you know, I gotta handle myself. I need to recharge, I need to reset, I need to go be in nature, I need to go to the waterfront, I need to cut my phone off. When you start saying that, you're gonna have a split. Some people are going to view that as a direct disrespect. Now you're changing the game, because you've conditioned these people to take from you without having to give anything. Now you're switching the game up. So for the people who are users, they're gonna have a problem with you. You're gonna have backlash, you're gonna have aftermath, you might get cussed out. You're gonna have people who, you know, bad mouthing you, talking behind your back. You're gonna have people causing real hostile energy out of nowhere. Then you're gonna have on the other side people who see what you're doing and love what you're doing, and probably were rooting for you to get into that position the whole time. Finally, you're doing something for you. If you need me, I'm on standby. Let me know if it gets real or you need any help or whatever. But for what it is, sending you blessings on that time frame that you're taking for yourself. It's much deserved. I'll be here when you step out. If you gotta go in that cave, I'll be here when you come out. So there's the true friend lane, those people are gonna respond correctly. Those people are gonna respond correctly. The other half are gonna show you who they are, because here's the thing about destiny and purpose and manifestation. The last thing you need to be doing is putting your neck on the line for snakes undercover. You want to see people's true colors. Start making decisions for your damn self and being unapologetic about it, and see who turns into a gargoyle or something, right? And just a whole gremlin right in front of you, and see who's understanding of that and who's riding with you and who wants you to feel empowered, who wants you to feel growth, who wants you to ascend, right? That's the split. And again, just like I say with dating, it's a filter. All it is a filter. And a filter symbolically gives you information. You get purity on the other side. It cuts out the garbage in between, and on the other side you get the purity. Purity is information. The truth is the truth. The truth is the purity. You think about a water filter, the particles get caught right here. This is all the people you're not gonna date. It's the middle, it's the filter right here. The narcissists, the manipulators, you feel me? You got the emotional unavailables and the non-reciprocators and the energy vampires. This is the particles that get caught, that are supposed to get caught in the filter when you date, right? Underneath that is the purity. The purity is information, especially in friendships. You get the truth when you're able to be fierce and unapologetic when it comes to, you doing what you need to do for yourself. Just like in dating, doing what you need to do for yourself. Sound familiar? Doing what you need to do for yourself. Self-care, growth, self-discovery, self-awareness, accountability, ascension, growth, evolution, all of this stuff. When you're doing what you're doing for yourself, healing and healing those wounds, filling those voids up. By virtue of you doing what's best for you, the activity of those who vibrate the same way and who want to support that energy show up. That's friends and that's soulmates. It's the same thing. It's the same energy. You cultivate the energy, you cultivate the vibe, and you kick out anything that needs to be repelled from that process. But if you don't know who to kick out, start doing you. Start doing some good stuff for yourself. Stop the train for a second. Kick everybody off. I'm doing a stop right now. I'm doing an unscheduled stop right here. Some people are gonna stay on there, and some people are gonna have a huge issue. And that's your filter. So if you couldn't see before, you see it now. I hope that's making sense to y'all. Appreciate y'all coming through. Beauty K, how you doing? How you doing? So this is what we need to carry into 2021. Just a reminder. And this is life and death. Again, I'm here to help you to manifest what you're looking for, but also remove what is not only obsolete, but what is basically damaging to your organism from a physical standpoint, from a mental standpoint, from an emotional standpoint, etc. We can't have anything floating around or any old habits that we've carried for decades or years on end that are serving to our destruction. Times now are not times where we have to focus outward on solving everybody's problems. We can't do that anymore. That's done. So if you need to replay this. It's gonna be here. And again, if you need help, any support, any one-on-one coaching, you want to be a part of the workshop series, anything like that, just check the link in my bio. Look for the Evolve membership. I set up a lot of cool stuff for that. Just to help you hit all the major areas this year: psychology, purpose, physical health, and partnerships as well. Dating, relationships, mental health, emotional. We covering everything. I'm here to cover everything, every element, so that you can activate your internal happiness, your unconditional happiness, and hit your growth points and manifest everything that you're here to get. Because it's not time to get swept up with the current based on everything that's going on and just succumb to the negative energy, the fear-based energy, the anxiety and the depression, and just take it for what it is. And this is just my life, and just take the L as a victim. We have the power to counteract everything that is toxic within us, so that nothing outside of us can affect us in a negative way. These are just the facts. So if you're interested in that, either shoot me a DM or check the link in my bio. Again, it's called Evolve. Take a look at it, see if it resonates with you, and be sure to focus on this filtration process. I'm dead serious with this. Again, you deserve to have freedom that you may not have ever experienced before outside of maybe childhood. We're creating new reference points. Don't be afraid to create a new reference point for yourself, a new set of standards for yourself, a new firmer set of boundaries for yourself. We do that all day. You can switch the game plan up tonight, tomorrow. Who gonna stop you? This your life. And I'm definitely glad to be a part of it, as always. So again, you guys have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow evening.